Well, what is good, you sexy bastards? Welcome back to Stella Crew Gaming, and in today's video we're going to be showing you a part 2 to the brand new save editor by Hazard. This is the new 5.1 version. If you weren't aware, he has already done a little update on the 5.0 version to fix a few things from the feedback that were received on the initial video. So what we're going to do today is go through the rest of the save editor, showing you everything else that I haven't shown you yet. And I'm also going to address one of the common topics from the previous video because I did miss it in the vehicle selection or the vehicle description video. So what I'm going to show you here is the most common question I got was about interior and trim colors. So this is a limitation of the game. Everything that Hazard has put into the save editor is for what's possible. So it's not as simple as, unfortunately, just adding the trim option into the vehicle modifications for the individual garages. This is limited by the game. Just like in the shortlist characters, you can only get certain components in shortlist. This has nothing to do with save editor not adding it. It is simply the game limits this. All right, so just to clarify that. So just like in the old version, to be able to do the trim or the dashboard color, you have to go into the strip club. I will leave a link to the video above to watch that method. But if you want to do trim vehicles, it is a bit of a process. And then you're going to go over here to Trevor's strip club. Now you can notice we have dashboard color, we have interior color. Okay, so this is where you would add that, but it's not as simple as just adding it to these vehicles. There is a whole other glitch that's involved to get these to show properly in story mode and then bring them online. All right, so it is in here. It is the same as before. So just to clarify, here it is, interior and dashboard color under Trevor, under Trevor's strip club. Next, we're going to show you kind of the very top tab here, one by one. So we're going to start off with the very first one under checklist. And now this is for your story mode progress and your actual checklist progress. So as you can see here, this load that I saved, or this save that I loaded, I should say, sorry, is pretty complete as it is. Like, we've got 68 out of 69 missions done. We've got 41 out of 42 hobbies, pastimes, strangers and freaks are done, random events are done, and miscellaneous are done. So we're at 99% save. But if you can see here, we have the ones that are locked. Now these are the ones that have not been completed yet. So if we hover over it, we can go ahead and select it, and then it will take us to where that one is. So that particular one, it is hunting. So if we go back here, hunting. Now, if I want to change this to completed, I can say challenges display or challenge displayed. We can change the number to say 1, high score. I don't know, let's say 10,000. All right, let's say lowest time to gold. I don't know, let's say 12, and then the week timer 12 as well. I don't know exactly what these mean, but if we do that and if we go back to our checklist now, it will show as it's been completed. So as long as we change those values, it will show as completed. So now we have under hobbies and pastimes, we have 41 out of 42 complete. So all of these don't count, I guess, towards the 100%, but if it was a race, we can simply click on the race and we can go into completed or not completed. We got random events down here, so we can just click on this to complete it. Boom, done. Now that's completed. Click on this one, completed. So if we want to complete all of these, some you can just simply click on them and go completed. But if they are a mini game or something else, it will link you to the mini game through the menu. Then you can go ahead and select whatever you want to select for these guys, and just so that it does actually get completed. So if we go back to checklist, it should show completed. All right, so that's how we can get ourselves a checklist progression. If you want to do 100% save, or there's missions that you just want to go ahead and select to have them as completed, that can all be done in here. Next, we're going to go over to our collectibles. All right, so collectibles is pretty cool. So if you do want to collect anything like the Epsilon track or knife fights, letter scraps, monkey mosaics, nuclear waste, all that kind of stuff, he does have a map with the icons. We can even zoom in. All right, we can take a closer look at it and we can move the map around. Now, if we want to have only certain ones showing, we can right click over here and go hide all collectibles. So it'll hide them all. Now, if we want to do only the under the bridge, for example, we can select under the bridge, and there it'll give us all the under the bridge. If we expand this, the yellow ones are completed and the red ones are not completed. So we go ahead and check mark the ones that we want to complete. So if we want to go through and check mark them all, we can have them complete. But if we did want to actually physically do them, we can just use this as a guide and a reference to where they would be, and then we can go ahead and complete the mission. So whichever you prefer, if you want to take the easy way and just select them all, but if you actually want to do them, like the stunt jumps, for example, stunt jumps are always fun. You can see where they are on here just by simply selecting that. It'll show us all the start jumps on here. And again, we can either select them as completed, or we can physically load up the game and go ahead and find these ones and complete them ourselves legit. So whichever you prefer. Then if we right click, we can go show all, or we can right click and go hide all. So either way, if there is ones that have like a start point and an end point, they will show them on the map as well. So that's pretty cool. So, I mean, not showing exactly which ones are under here right now, but they will give you that as well just by hovering over it. So if you hover over it, it'll tell you what it is under the bridge 43, under the bridge 16, so on, under the bridge 1. All right, so hover over it, it will tell you what it is, and we can zoom in and zoom out to check out the map in further detail. Next tab is going to be director mode. So for all you outfit junkies out there, this is where you would normally find your shortlist actors and anything else that you wanted to do for director mode. But as most of you should be aware by now, director mode glitch for outfits has been patched for almost a year. As of next month, it'll be exactly a year, as well as the pet outfits have also been patched. So just because Save Editor has been updated, it has nothing to do with glitches in the game. So I want to clarify that, because a lot of people still comment, does this mean pet is back? Save Editor has nothing to do with glitches in the game. This is simply a story mode save editor that allows us to modify the saves. Beyond that, we need glitches to bring them online. We need Save Wizard to encrypt and decrypt our saves in order to actually use them in Save Editor. So that's always a big common perception, that people think that Save Editor is Save Wizard, which they're completely two separate programs. Save Editor by Hazard, which, let me remind you, is a free program that Save Editor goes out of his time redesigning this one for the last 6 months for free to give back to the community. Save Wizard, on the other hand, takes your money, revokes your keys and other things, but unfortunately it's necessary, unfortunately. So it's sad to say, but we do need them. And then the glitches, obviously without any of that, we can't do any of this and bring this online. So just to clarify all of that, we need all three things to be able to do things like outfits. So here in the save or scene editor, this is where you can go ahead and play around with some props. So if that's your thing, you can select different props that spawn online. We can go down here and select different rocks and stuff. We can go ahead and select this one to show if we want a small bush, if we want a large bush, if we want a Joshua tree, whatever you want, you can pick it here. If you're doing custom hashes, if you know how to do that, you could just simply type in the hash. You can change the position by the X and Y positions and Z positions over here. You can rotate it. So if you know how to do this kind of thing, if you're modifying whatever it may be, director mode, scenes and stuff like that, if you're role playing or whichever, this is where you would go ahead and play around with the different props. Now here in shortlist actors, this is where we would do normally the director mode outfits. Some people like to bring peds online, like if you're bringing Lester online and things like that. I still think there is a glitch that you can do that. I've never done it myself, but I feel like there is a glitch to do that, and this is probably my assumption you would do it under here. One little thing that I did add, this was actually my recommendation, is we can go ahead and stretch these out so we can make it a little easier to see. So before it was all kind of cramped up there, but this way we can just slide these down, slide this over. So just a little suggestion that I made, so it's easier to kind of scroll through this. So once we're selecting on one of our shortlist actors, again, this is where we would normally edit our outfits. I'm not going to go into it in major detail because I have gone over in old videos, but just like before, we'd pick our shortlist actor 1, we'd pick our model, which would generally be our online character. So we're going to pick like our free mode. Where is it here? Multiplayer, no, in-game. Multiplayer, free mode 01 for female, or we want to do free mode 01 for multiplayer male. So you would select that. Then we wouldn't worry about catalog, face, but we could do mask. So again, if we're doing director mode, we would go ahead and do the penguin mask. So we can just search over here if we want to, just by clicking on here. If we know the actual drawable and texture, we could do it that way. Or if we want to actually search, we can just do it up here. So I can do penguin, and there's the penguin mask. All right, so 31.0, not too sure why there's two, but two show up for some reason, but it's the same one, 31 and 0. So we'd select our penguin mask or the red stocking or whichever. Hair, we wouldn't have to worry about. Skin and hands, this is where we'd pick our gloves. So we can go ahead and scroll through all our different gloves here, or we can type in the drawable and texture again if we're familiar with that. Or we can just simply do the drop down and scroll through if you just want to look for the name. So different ways we can do that, or again, we can just search up here. So again, I'm not going to go into this into major detail, but the nice thing is he does have images just like before for every single component that is available through Shortlist. Again, Shortlist is limited to what we can actually bring online. So if it's not in here, it doesn't mean that he just forgot to add it. It simply will not let you put it onto a Shortlist character. There is a limitation of 61 drawables, so we cannot go above that. So you'll never get your deadline tops or your jerseys and things like that. Unfortunately, it's just not possible. The game does not allow it under Shortlist actors. Next tab under the director mode is going to be our unlocks, and here we have our animals. We have heist characters, we have special characters, story mode characters, and we can just simply select them if we want to have them unlocked in game. Okay, so we can go ahead and pick all the different unlocks that we want. So for director mode, normally again, if we were doing the kill the bird method and stuff like that, this is where we could go to select the chicken hawk to make sure it's unlocked in director mode when we do load up the save. Okay, and we can also search up here as well. So there's always generally a search bar at the top that we can go through and select those. The next tab here is going to be game. Now under the game, if we look up here at the little eye in the corner, this will tell us what this represents. So the game tab, if it actually wants to register here, there we go. This section is a list of game flags that are used to enable/disable aspects of the game. So as you can see here, we have Conbot, we have Fallen Out, Load B Exit, Finale, Prime Board. So basically all story mode check marks that you can have so that they would enable or disable them in game. Next, we're going to have our missions tab. Now under missions, this is super sweet and it is very in depth as well. At the top here, we'll notice there's going to be a main as well as strangers and freaks if we click this little toggle. So you've got the side missions and then you've got your main missions here. So of course we start off with the prologue, Franklin Lamar, and repossession and so on. Now the cool thing is if we select on one of these jobs, let's say we pick the marriage counseling one here. All right, it'll show us the map. Again, we can zoom in on the map. So if we want to get a little closer, it'll tell us the tennis coach is over here. It tells us the start and end point over here. So summary, it just tells you Michael's marriage is on the rocks. If we click the stats option, it'll tell us what we have completed. So if you do want to actually get 100% on that mission, because right now we only had 84, we missed the not a scratch option. So if we click that, toggle this little here to complete it, save it. Now that'll change it to 100%. Same thing if we go to chop. This one has also got not a scratch turned on, so we can go ahead and click that as completed, hit save, and now that is completed. But as you can see, for every mission, it'll give you the little key points to the start point, the end point, where the van is located, to the rec center, the biker chaser end. So it gives you all the key points to that particular mission right here on the map. So it helps you kind of guide through that as well. So we can scroll all the way to the right to get all the different missions, and there will always be a summary, there'll be your stats, and we can toggle through and play through all of those as we go through it. If we're looking for a certain mission, we can search here in the search bar. All right, and we've also got a settings tab over here to show unknown missions or hide unknown missions. Then if we go over to our strangers and freaks, it works the exact same way. We can go through here, find ones that we may not have at 100% on, and we could go through and actually check mark the ones that we did not do 100%, like this one here, risk assessment. We did not do the free faller, so free fall for 7 seconds before opening your parachute. All right, so we can go ahead and change this, let's say maybe 6 seconds, save it. Does that do it? No. Okay, so maybe it's got to be longer than 7 seconds. So let's change it to 8 seconds. Save it. There we go. Boom, it's check marked. So now that one is 100% as well. The final tab is going to be our player tab, but in the player tab, there is quite a few different sub tabs as well. So under the player, the first one that takes us to is mini games, but we're going to start over here under clothing. So clothing here is where we would edit our pet outfits. If we still had pet outfits, we could go in here to the components section and we can select our different components. So mask, skin, legs, parachute, shoes. So this is where if we ever got, and I say big if we ever got a pet glitch again, this is where we would go through and select our components. So this will have a list of every single component, unlike shortlist where it is limited. This will actually show you all of them. Okay, so we can go and do a drawable and texture if we know it and submit it that way. Or we can just scroll through and actually select the ones that we want as well, just by scrolling through it. Same thing for hats and everything else. So, and then we'll show images if there is an image available over here on the right. Outfits are just simply for your story mode character. So under Trevor right now, if we wanted to put the Moto X Trevor outfit on, we could just apply it through here. So these are just some of the default outfits that we can apply just by simply selecting apply. Next, we're going to go to the garage tab, which we have already covered, following by location. Now location, this is just simply if you want to change your spawn location on the map. We can change the Y, X, Y, and Z location, as well as the yaw. Not too sure what that is, but I think that's like the angle. Or we can just go ahead and select one of the default locations from this little menu here. Okay, now we can go and we can change it for every character. So we can go Michael Franklin and we can change the different locations. Next is going to be mini games. So there is a lot under the mini games. We have everything from booty call to flight school to golf to races to shooting range, taxi, towing, wildlife. So each individual tab will let us go ahead and select the different stats. So how many times we've liked this booty call, how many times they've denied us, how many sext we've sent, and how many call bits and then call activated and things like that. So we can go through and edit these as we wish. Flight school, we can select the ones that we have completed. We can pick the medal. So if we want to pick gold, we can change our best time, recent time, formation timer, multiplier, and then we can simply toggle this to true if we have passed it. And it shows you down here what the minimum requirement is for gold, to be 54 seconds. So we could change our best time to like 53 or something like that, so that it's just under that target, and that would get us the gold. All right, next we got golf. So very similar with golf, we can go through and edit our fairway drives or average putts. We can scroll through hole by hole. So if we actually want to see what the hole looks like, this little image will show us what the hole looks like. And we can change our wins, how many putts, fairway drives, and so on. Play with all the different stats here under the golf. Next, we have races. Cool thing about races, it'll show us our start point and it'll show us our finish point. All right, so you'll get an idea of what the track looks like before we start it. We can go through and just scroll down the different options here and it'll show us the different races that are available. We can change our best time, our recent place, and our overall time. All right, so we can play through those. But if we do it back in the checklist section in the beginning, we could just change it to completed, which I showed you in the beginning of the video. Next tab is going to be shooting range. So in shooting range, we have all the different challenges. We can select the weapon that we have used for that shooting range challenge. It'll tell us here what the actual challenge entitles. And then we can go over here and select or change the values of our target. So how many times we hit the bullseye, the red, the blue, and the black surrounding areas. We can also pick our medal here with our recent score, recent accuracy, our best score, and we can save it to true for unlocked or false for unlocked. And then we can go ahead and see the top score for gold would be 15,000. So if we want to have our best score, say 17,000, select gold. We know we're done and we can leave it as true. And then same thing for different weapons and different classes here. We got our SMGs, we got our ARs, shotguns, our LMGs, and so on, minigun and a railgun. So we can play through with all these different stats for the shooting range under this area. Next, we have taxi. So this is for your taxi jobs. So you've got your deadline, your cut you in, you got clown car, get you now. So you can change all your stats for these. All right. So you can toggle these, yes or no, how many runs you did. So you can scroll down and play with all these different taxi stats if you so wish to do so. Next tab is towing, and it works very similar. So we can do abandoned cars, broken down cars, crash cars. We can change our value for all of these. Illegal parked car was the last job. How many times we illegally parked car completed? I don't know. We could do 43,254 if we want, and we can change all the different values under here. Next tab we have is wildlife photography, so which ones we've actually taken pictures of, so we can select all the different animals that we have taken pictures of. Now if we go to the second mini games tab, there is additional ones under here for darts, hunting, and tennis. So same thing, these will allow us to edit all the different values so we can change our stats to what we like. Prostitutes, all right, we've got Ashley, Babs, Dana. We can do how many services, how many times we've met them. You can change the model if you want to. You can play around with the drawables for their head, texture, hair, and things like that. So if you kind of want to alter their appearance, you could do it through this area. And so that is for all the prostitutes in game. Next, we have stocks. So if you want to dabble in the stock market, here is where you can do so. All right, so at the very top, we've got the market. So these are all the different options. So if we got Burger Shot here, for example, the high was at $221,433. The low was at $76,000, and the current value is $205. Now, if you want to create your own portfolio and play around with it here, we can select the one that we want. So if we want to buy into Piss Washer, we can do that. How many we've invested, how many stocks we have, and then it'll tell you how much your estimated value is. So as you can see, we've got, 10 billion stocks in Bullhead, so our value is 643 billion, so not a bad investment. All right, and then we could also play around with the stock modifiers, so you can play with all the different values in here. So lots of different stat editing and value editing that you can do. If you really want to alter your experience in story mode, you can do that through all of these different options here. And the next tab under a player is going to be phone. And in the phone, we just have our contact list, so we can go ahead and select the people that we want in our contacts, or we can deselect the ones that we don't want. We can have their name visible or hidden by selecting these, so we can toggle that. You can change the background of your phone in game. So right now we're on Trevor. So if we want to have green shards as a background, we can have it normal mode or sleep mode. We can change our ringtone, so you can listen to it just by clicking on it. Gives you our different ringtone. We can change the theme color, and we can change the model of the phone, so your iFruit, Facade, or Badger. All right, so if you want the iPhone knockoff, you can pick the iFruit, and so on. We can also go into our messages tab here, and we can do different things with the messages. Call sender, status sender, feed ID, Dell mode, hour, year, Michael presence, Trevor presence, multiplayer presence. We can change these values, second day, and stuff like that. So we can alter our message settings. Then we have actual settings for the phone. So you got focus, lock, help, been disabled, sleep warning, been disabled, and we can change the value to yes or no, or true or false. And then we've also got our last messages needs to be read. We can do on scheduled. We can turn vibrate off and on, and launch to text message, and so on. So again, different settings here in the phone if you want to alter those in any way. Next tab we have is stats. So again, a lot of this is going to be stat editing under the player section. So it gives you a lot of options to actually customize it in game. So if you're really into the stats editing, this is where we would do all of it under here. So combat, you can change how many headshots you got, how many hits, how many kills. All right, you got different settings, different skills, different vehicles. And you can change all the different values over here on the right, as well as your weapons. So how many buzzard bullet headshots that you got, drive-by shoot time, drive-by shots. So again, very in-depth for those who wish to edit their stats. Next we have is tattoos. Now under tattoos, we have all the different ones that we've checkmarked and unlocked right here. So in game, we've already unlocked all these different ones. So this is under Trevor. If we go to Michael, it'll show us the different tattoos for Michael. So obviously it's different for each character. And then we've also got the Franklin tattoos. and those are here as well. So if we have them check marked, that means that they have been unlocked in game, so we can go ahead and apply them at any tattoo shop. Next tab we have is unlocks. Now under unlocks, we're going to have some other clothing things that we can go ahead and select to make them available. So a lot of them will show up as unknown, but these are just all the different options that are available. So you could go ahead and select them all if you want for different clothing, different beards, which ones are available, which ones you've acquired, and ones that are new. So we can toggle these on or off and play with those in game as well. We have the properties, so you can set who the owner of the property is. So right now the car scrapyard belongs to Franklin. The cinema Doppler belongs to Michael. You can show their last income, how much cash flow it's got. So we can go ahead and edit all these stats as well. So we can assign which property to which character. Same thing with vehicles. Under vehicles, we can have our special vehicles. So we can change these to whatever we want. So if we want Franklin's bike here, we could change it to an Issy. We could go to Mr. Strawberry Jam or Mr. Strawberry Jam. We could change it to a Felon. So we can go ahead and change the different values of the vehicles that are going to be under special. These are going to be the upgrades that are available in game that you've unlocked. So we've got armor all the way down from 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So if we go into an LSC, if we have them all check marked, that obviously means that we can select any of these options. And here it is, just a list of all the different vehicles that are available in story mode. All right. Next one we have is weapons. So same idea. It'll tell us what weapons that we have unlocked. So we can select the ones for the individual options like purchased, viewed, which ones we own, different tints. We can go through every single option, suppressors, unlocked, viewed. So we can check mark if we want the army tint, if we want the gold tint, the green tint. We can customize our weapons, and we can scroll down to see all the available options for weapons in story mode as well. So this is simply for like the attachments, or whether you own them or you don't own them. If we go into the next tab, which is labeled weapons, this here will actually show if we check mark it or uncheck mark it, what we physically own and have unlocked. And then also if over here on the right hand side, we've got heavy pistol usage, so we can edit the usage of that particular weapon. We've got the max all weapon ammo, so we can max them all out if we want. We can go ahead and equip all the weapons. All right. We can then unequip all the weapons. We can reset all weapons back to default. We can view luxury engravings. So if we have a gun like this that has a luxury engraving, it'll show us an image of that luxury, so like the VIP variant and things like that. Our ammo stats here are ammo, or how much ammo we actually physically have. And then it shows us the actual stats for that gun. So the damage, the fire rate, the accuracy, and so on. If we click this diamond again, it will take us back to here. And we can again change the upgrade settings under here. So if we want the default clip, the extended clip, we want the wood grip finish, and whichever, we can customize individual guns through here as well. We go to the little info screen up here. It'll tell us a special carbine is available in ammunition. Go to the weapons unlocks tab to edit it. All right, so that's what we just did back here. And I believe the last tab that I missed is the Chop tab. All right, so if we're on Franklin, we have access to Chop. So you can have Chop unlocked or locked. You can play with the happiness by scrolling this over, how hungry he is, how clean he is, and what skills he has as far as his tricks. So sit, give a paw, and so on. And then we can change his collar color, pink, brown, gold, whatever you want. So one last little thing there that we can do for Franklin. Michael and Trevor doesn't have anything else, obviously, because they don't have any pets. But also here on the left, we do have under the actual player, we can change their lung capacity, their driving, their flight, their stealth, their special, their wanted level, armor, health, and so on. And then obviously their in-game currency as well can all be changed through here on the left-hand side. Now, one key note as well, as I noticed when I initially did my DMO saves, that by moving my character from here, it actually would switch it to that character in game. So up top here, before we start editing the save, if we go ahead and go player switch enabled and move that to disabled, because it should be enabled by default. If we switch that to disabled, when we load our save, we should be back on Trevor like we need to be for the DMO save. Well, I think that is it for part 2 of the Save Editor Explained. Now, if there is anything that I've missed or any other questions that you may have, drop them in the comments below, and if necessary, I will make a part 3. Now, I know I did go through a lot of these options pretty quickly, and to be honest, there's a lot of this stuff that you will probably never ever use, but I just wanted to show you that it is in here if you ever decided you wanted to. For those who like to edit your stats and things like that, there's a lot of in-depth areas that you can go ahead and customize to your own liking. So that was a big part of the video. And if we ever do get another outfit glitch, of course, you know I'm going to make another video on how to do proper outfits. But at this time, there's not really a point of going through them severely in depth, just for the fact that there is no current outfit glitches. We can still go in here and view the edits of the drawables and the textures if you're using them for BEF. But of course, we do have my BEF lists in the Discord, which I will be working on an edited version of those as well to reload back up to my website. So because of Hazard, big shout out to him, he actually gave me access to his full photo database for all of the images. So I do plan on revisiting my BEF lists and making them better than ever, so that will be coming. So again, big shout out to Hazard for supplying me with those images. I know he spent a lot of time compiling them, so I want to make the best quality BEF page I can for you guys. But that's it for today, so I hope you did enjoy the video. Again, comment down below if there's anything that I missed or anything else you want to see more of, and until the next one, this is SCG. I'm out.